The next class of submarines started by the Japanese were the three boats of the 1,705 surfaced and 2,330 submerged ton I-65 class, also known as the Kaidai 5 type. Back to the fleet boats. These were the next evolution of the fleet boat type. Surface speed remained high and their range remained very respectable, if not on the scale of the Jinsen boats. Their big change was the adoption of a new 100mm deck gun that was theoretically dual purpose. In reality, not so much. Training and elevation was still too slow, and of course, they had no fire control director. It did let them carry more rounds as they were smaller, so there's that. Also, their diving depth improved. On the downside, only 3 were built, and again, 1 was lost pre-war in an accident. Like many other submarines, in May 1942, the 2 survivors were renumbered. I-65 was started December 19, 1929, and completed December 1, 1932. I-66 was started November 8, 1929, and was completed November 10, 1931. I-67 was started October 14, 1929, and completed August 8, 1932. Main armament was 4 bow and 2 stern 533mm torpedo tubes for 16 torpedoes. A single open 100mm deck gun was mounted forward of the sail. Propulsion on the surface was provided by 2 diesel engines, which produced 6,000 horsepower that ran the 2 propellers and recharged the batteries for a surface speed of 20 knots. While submerged, they used their batteries to power 2 motors which provided 1,800 horsepower for a top speed of 8 knots. Range on the surface was 10,800 nautical miles at 10 knots, and submerged they could do 60 nautical miles at 3 knots. Test diving depth was 75 meters. In May 1942, they were renumbered into the 100 series. In April 1945, I-65 was fitted with a Type 13 radar. On September 25, 1940, I-67 was lost in a training accident. Apparently, while practicing crash diving, they forgot to close the hatch. I-65 and 66 spent December 1941 in the Gulf of Thailand supporting the invasion of Malaya. While doing so, on the 9th, I-65 spotted Force Z and got off a contact report, while on the 24th, I-66 sank the Dutch submarine K-16. In January and February, they moved into the Indian Ocean and attacked Allied shipping there until returning to Japan in March. In June, the now I-165 and I-166 sailed to support the Battle of Midway. From August 1942 to mid-February 1943, they were again back in the Indian Ocean, East Indies, Western Australia area. On July 17, 1944, while passing through the Malacca Strait on the surface, I-166 was sunk by the British submarine Telemachus. In August 1944, I-165 was sent to evacuate troops from the increasingly tenuous Biak garrison. While trying to do so, on August 18th, she was badly damaged by depth charges and had to return to Japan for repairs. Finally arriving in mid-October, where she was redesignated as a training boat. In April 1945, she was modified into a chiton carrier. In mid-June 1945, she was part of the group that was sent to launch a chiton attack on the U.S. fleet at Saipan. On June 27th, east of Saipan, she was attacked and sunk by an aircraft that dropped depth charges and a Fido torpedo on her.